can did not even blow up. However, well, everyone has an aversion right now to bombs and the thought of being bombed, and you cannot let anything go unnoticed, including someone that's actually planning to bomb a school and create massive casualties, um, such as what was going to happen out in Oregon. And now that's a different story, though. We'll cover it later. But it wasn't immediately clear how police connected Barnes to the blast. They said they would scrutinize social media and surveillance footage. Barnes will be suspended or fired, they say. And he worked as an outdoor vendor at the resort and was held on $1 million bail and is cooperating with investigators. So we've got him right now. He's just a suspect, and in this country, you're supposed to be considered innocent until proven guilty. So that concept still holds. There may be some hope for a lot of people, but then again, it may give some people an out. Moving along, weather-wise, we've had our first hurricane of the season. However, it has not hit the U.S. continental lower 48. It has hit the Mexican southern Pacific coast with rain after making its second earliest landfall since reliable record keeping began back in 1966. It quickly lost strength over land, but not before killing at least 2 people. And by evening, it had weakened to a tropical storm. It was called Hurricane Barbara. And it was Category 1 hurricane. Yet 2 people were killed. So you can't really discount the speeds of these things. I mean, Hurricane 1 has speeds up to 75 miles per hour or 120 kilometers per hour. And it lost a lot of strength as it crossed Mexico. But anyway, it's appeared to start in the Pacific season unusually early. It also made landfall farther east than any other Pacific hurricane since 1966. And he says such storms often form closer to the resort of Acapulco to the west. So we've got that in the news. Everyone was waiting when this was going to happen. So now there has been one hurricane, recorded. In the news regarding Obamacare, Obamacare is going to usher in health insurance cancellation notices. They're saying that many people that buy their own health insurance could get surprises in the mail this fall. Cancellation notices because current policies are not up to the basic standards of the Obama health care law. And they and some small businesses will have to find replacement plans, and that has some state insurance officials worried about consumer confusion. Well, that's a new one on me. People worried about consumer confusion. I shouldn't be so judgmental, and I'm not giving the news a slant one way or the other. I'm just basically reporting it. You could form your own opinions by going to these websites if you like. This is out of foxnews.com. And what they're saying is rollout of the Affordable Health Care Act is going full speed ahead despite repeal efforts by congressional Republicans. And new insurance markets called exchanges are open in every state this fall. Middle class consumers who don't get coverage on the job will be able to pick private health plans, while low income people will be steered to an expanded version of Medicaid in states that accept it. The goal is to cover most of the nation's nearly 50 million insured. But even Obama says there will be bumps in the road, and discontinued health plans could be another bump. So that's what we have in the land of confusion as far as Obamacare is concerned. And we now move to a public interest, human interest story about a Chinese baby that was freed from a sewer pipe, was released from the hospital and returned to the mother. A newborn whose rescue from a sewer pipe in China captivated the world has been returned to his mother after authorities decided he became trapped because of an accident. And he was in a it was a 2-hour rescue from a pipe underneath a toilet in Pojane County, prompted both horror and an outpouring of charity on behalf of the boy, who has been taken away from the hospital by the unwed mother and man believed to be the father. Well, they got off to a rocky start, that's for sure. The Bible says, the good book says that you should, take care of your family. And I'm sure that being it was an accident, they would never have allowed it to happen. But, still, it makes a bad case for you, But the police concluded that the 22-year-old single woman faces no charges, deciding that she did not initially step forward because she was frightened, and she gradually had a change of heart and began to tell the truth. She got pregnant after a brief affair with a man, hid her pregnancy from family and neighbors, and secretly delivered the child Saturday in the Ronald Building's restroom. She said the infant accidentally slipped into the toilet and raised the alarm. So, firefighters had to rescue the child who was born at 6 pounds and 2.8 ounces and had a low heart rate and some minor abrasions. It was mostly unhurt. So we're very happy for the ending of that story. However, it would have been very nice had it never happened. Given the moral climate of the entire world now, almost anything goes. They used to tell you back in the 70s and 80s, have an open mind. Well, some people's minds are so open that the wind whistles through their ears. I shouldn't be so judgmental, but, you got to face the facts that we are in a moral decline and to a death tailspin. And until things change, things like this will continue to happen or only get worse. Okay, on another story today, Blacklisted News is reporting that we are now 1 year away from global riots and complex systems, theorists say. They said that there is a reliability factor, a single factor that will prompt social unrest. It's food, and it's becoming too scarce or too expensive. And they're saying that there'll be waves of unrest that swept the world in 2008 and 2011. The number one determinant was soaring food prices. Their model identified a precise threshold for global food prices that, if breached, would lead to worldwide unrest. And we're talking about a worldwide scale here of global riots. I mean, we're not talking about localized. We're not talking about a certain group of people demanding their rights. We're talking about outright panic and riots. And it's just pretty simple. The black dots are the food prices, red dots are riots, and they've got a graph on it, and they're showing a correlation between the riots and the actual food prices, and it's hit countries such as Haiti, Egypt, Sudan, Cameroon, Yemen, Mozambique, Algeria, Yemen, Morocco, Oman, Bahrain, Libya, Tunisia, Uganda, and Syria. All of those are over in Africa or Middle East, but you got to realize one thing. This is a global problem. A global problem. and even genetically modified foods will not cure this problem because they're saying that it does not increase productivity. Okay, another story that's in the news today is a record 10,978,040 people are now on disability. They said disability would be the 8th most populous state if it were to be a state in the United States. Total number of people in the United States hit a record 10,978,040 in May, and according to the newly released data from Social Security Administration, it jumped from 10,962,532 million in April. They said the beneficiaries of the United States for Social Security disability now exceeds the population of all but 7 states. And there are more Americans collecting disability today than there are people living in Georgia, Michigan, North Carolina, New Jersey, or Virginia. We have this issue with the baby boomers. We have these issues with the veterans. We have these issues with other people, the children that are collecting disability checks, from their father's or mother's disability. Well, let's just face it. I mean, they're talking about on the plus side of how many people are on it, but there's an attrition rate too, where people are well, this is macabre, but people are dying and dropping off of the system as well as they're being added. They act like it's a one-way street. You're just going to be adding to it and adding to it, and there's not going to be any attrition. And some of these kids are going to become older, adult. They're going to become adults, and they're going to drop off the system. So there's other factors that they're not telling you the entire story on this. But they want to make it sound as bad as it can for some reason because they want to eliminate Social Security because it is a debt that the nation owes that it doesn't want to pay. It makes it as hard as possible to get it, and then it makes it almost impossible to live without it. And then they're talking about cutting the benefits on it. So it's really, really sad. It's really sad. If you weren't fortunate enough to be born in the right place or find the right career and to work for the right companies and to find yourself in a good financial position at the time that you need it, when you become disabled or you become of retirement age, then the government has all been too happy to tax you all these years, but it doesn't see any need for it to be liable for you for one iota of a moment for being in this country and generating the revenues so that they can go around and throw their weight around the world, helping other countries out to rebuild and stuff. Well, anyway, moving on to the next story. Oklahoma twister debris. If they took all of the Oklahoma twister debris and put it all together, it would create a mile-high pile of debris. And that includes crushed wood, mangled siding, battered belongings. It can make a pile that can go more than a mile into the sky. Splintered remains will be taken to a landfill where they'll be sorted and then recycled or burned. Bricks will go to charities such as Habitat for Humanity. Wood, paper, and clothing will be incinerated. And he says, I could be sad about it, but I'm not going to make anything, it's not going to make anything come back. It's just a house, just stuff. We have each other, said Jesse Childs. Childs, as a bulldozer and backhoe operators, reduced her house near the Plaza Towers Elementary School to a 10-foot pile of rubble. and this was a tornado enhanced F5.